guys, welcome back. It's been a while, but we're here in the South Australia Parliament with Carlos himself, and we just thought we'd have a chat, see how Carlos is going. He survived the first few weeks, which is good news.
Yep.
How's it?
Just survived. It took me a couple of days to be able to get in my office, but we've crossed that hurdle.
Yeah, I guess for everyone at home, what's it like really been like? What's the experience of coming as almost like a new party, essentially taking over the hallways here?
It's interesting because we've sort of started to settle in, right? We had made a decision that we wouldn't ask questions or anything. We'd follow the protocol, do our maiden speeches, get them out of the way, and then get into doing things. You've got to set up a whole structure of you got to learn how to do things that you've never done before. Okay, so we're learning that. But in regards to have people say been helpful and stuff like that, yeah, look, the people setting up things have been fantastic. The workers in here are awesome, like the people that actually work in Parliament House.
Yeah,
the
furniture
clerks,
of Parliament.
Hey,
the furniture of Parliament.
Just the people that come here, the blue collar workers. They help you out, coffees, cafeteria, clean the rooms, whatever. They've been really good. And look, we've even had some discussions. Some of the members have come and, just quickly introduced themselves. Interesting though, not really, only just probably the last couple of days the Liberals have.
Okay.
But it was more sort of like the right faction of the Labor Party have, said g'day and welcome if there's anything we can help you with or whatever. And I said, no dramas. But we're kind of keeping to ourselves and just working on setting up our processes and how we operate as a party inside the Parliament, So, it's been good.
Yeah, because you obviously come back, you come from a council experience, so there'd be a little bit of similarities, I guess, in some sense.
Yeah, there is, and this is why I said it's so important. I think it's, if you want to get into Parliament, I think it's very important that you understand how local government works, because it does actually give you a bit of a grounding in, say, when you become part of committees and understanding some of the standing orders and rules of how we're actually meant to operate. So it's not a big wow, So I would strongly encourage people to get in local government.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point. And it was quite clear in the podcast we've done. Your kind of message was, if you want to help Australia, get involved. But we talked about this a few times. The operation, like the machine of South Australia Parliament, very different to local, but similar in many ways. Do you feel like first impressions you can still maintain One Nation's purest essence without it being disturbed by the machine itself?
Because we're not another cog that's going to fit in the machine. Yeah, right. That's a very important thing I've got to say. We're not. And I said this in my maiden speech. We're not here to do business as usual. We're not just another thing that's going to fit into that same thing. We want to do things differently. And so, even for example, we have, and you've worked here before. You have briefing sessions put on by ministers depending on what bill's coming up for voting. So they will get their staff and the bureaucrats to come into an office and give you a briefing, right? So generally what happens is you will send your staff to do that, right? Whereas I go to these things. Now, I could easily get a report from a staff member, but they don't listen with my ears, if that makes sense. Yeah. I want to hear what's going on. And that's sort of, there has been a bit of a comment about that. It's like, oh, you're doing this. And I'm like, well, I don't know any different, and this is how I learn. Okay, so I'll go to these things, and you get the chance to ask questions that your staff may not know or ask. Luckily for me, it's been about topics that I understand a lot about, whether it's been, the fracking issue that we've had or new laws that are coming up, we're talking about. So I find it interesting to go in there and ask questions.
So you got a bit more. Your way of working is very intentive. You want to get your hands on it. Very almost what it's like to be a tradie. You get your hands dirty. You're kind of getting into the nitty gritty of everything. You're not like some people just come here and they just will ignore the procedures, I guess, and just kind of get on with it. But you're more no, let me feel every aspect of Parliament before I.
Correct, and I don't think the system per se is what needs to be fixed. There are things that we need to address. Yeah, but the same rules and the same. Rules that we play within this game, if you learn the rules, you can use them to your advantage as well, right? So you understand, when you can interject, when you can ask a question, when you can, do all these sort of things. And look, question time it's interesting because I think the first day that I was in question time, it almost I felt like I was a bit of a spectator just watching. Yeah. And then you realise, well, actually, you're not a spectator, you're now part of it. But as we said, we hadn't done our maiden speeches, We've done them now. Corey did a blinder. Obviously, the Greens got upset, got up and walked out.
Yeah, what happened? So what? Just for the viewers out who might have not seen it, can you explain what happened? With
Corey obviously touched on a whole gamut of things that are going wrong in society. I think one of the ones, I think the trigger was the trans stuff that really got him upset.
So what did he say? That was like kind of the trigger.
I think he said something, if someone's fat, we don't encourage them to be fat or just give them a pill. Like we don't buy into the fantasy.
Yeah.
And so therefore, why would we do the same with mutilating kids, right? Which is it just makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Right. And that obviously was the trigger. But I think more than anything, I think that was theatrics.
Yeah.
Right. Because what I said about what the Greens did, I thought was a lot worse because it was directed at them.
Yeah.
And that was to do with the trees, at the golf course. But they didn't get up and walk out, right? But, we've had some debates in there where they'll, call you racist, this, that and the other. And I've got thick skin, I don't care, mate. Like, go your hardest.
Yeah.
Right? But then you see them in the corridor and they wave to you and say good morning and stuff like that. So they don't really hate you. A lot of that is for show.
Yeah. Do you think though, like the performative aspect is them, like they'll smile and wave, but deep down they're like screw you kind of thing? Because that's kind of
no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt they probably hate you and whatever.
Yeah.
But it's a different type of hate.
Have you got to go actually into the Greens office yet? Check it out.
No, I haven't gone into it.
It's just full of trees and flags.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Or you just shit?
No, I swear to God, it's like full of plants and stuff.
Well, I've got a couple of plants in here.
Got Pauline.
I got Pauline here, so yeah.
I
had to. I'm actually in Connie Benares's old office, so when I kind of like had to
How
get
does that feel, Corey? I mean, Connie.
It did feel a bit like when I walked in the first time, but I keep, I've got. St. Pauline here to look out for me, and I've just put as much One Nation stuff up as I can. I got the Aussie flag up here, so it just, I got my tool belt, so I'll never forget where I've started, and I'm going to slowly put up. I've got all the T-shirts with all the volunteer signatures. So when I walk into here, it's going to be the opposite of walking into a Greens office. It's going to be a One Nation office. I'd paint the walls orange if they let me, but unfortunately they said no, you can't do that. So
you want to be funny, like. We should get my Orthodox priest to come in here and bless it, just to rid the Connie Benares evil spirits out of here.
Well, whatever works. Might have to get rid of the Malacca. Is that what he called it? Yeah.
So she called Corey a Malacca.
Yeah. So anyway, whatever.
Anyways, it's funny though. No, it is bittersweet. It's kind of poetic actually that you've got a room now. So
yeah.
Anyways, sorry, but. The Corey speech, your speech, obviously there's been some controversies around the speeches from every angle.
Yeah.
All in all, you're happy with how everything went?
I think I would caution people into reading too much into what people say. I think you'd rather judge them by their what they do.
Yeah.
And this is what I've said all along. One Nation will not stop people joining the party if they believe in that flag and what it represents and will die for that flag. They want to make their state and their country better, and they want to take ownership of politics. That's kind of like the spirit of what it means to be One Nation. And I think when you start to look at, I've just recently saw there was an interview where an Indian immigrant stood up and said, well, yeah, I'm proud and I love what Pauline's doing. And that sort of just changes the orthodoxy or the way of people thinking, because we can all choose hills to die on. Yeah. Right? We can do that. But I think, and don't take this as I'm going to back down on what I believe we need to do, but at the same time, we need to get things done. Yeah. Right? We need to chip away. And there will be times where we'll probably vote with the Labor Party if it's in the best interests. And Pauline said this many a time. We will work with anybody in the best interests of the state and of the country. But if your interests are nefarious and are negative, then not only will we not work with you, we'll work out how to get rid of you. And I made that very clear to people.
Yeah, and I guess at the end of the day, like, there is people always there's a purity test. People have a purity test in their own mind of what One Nation needs to represent and what they voted for. And hearing from you, it's quite clear that you've delivered people who want to show action in Parliament. They want to represent their constituents.
Correct.
They might not be totally ideologically aligned with what they think One Nation is in the superficial way, but you being there as the guard watching over.
I can ask 10 different One Nation supporters what they think One Nation is, and I'll get within a reason 10 different answers.
Yeah.
But it's the essence of their answers that's the core of what One Nation is, right? And that's what I think is really important that we carry that through.
Yeah.
I mean, I did an article this morning with The Age. I think it's coming out this weekend. And I think what the two major parties fear the most is that not so much One Nation as the party, as one individual or a multitude of individuals. It's what One Nation presents, and what it now epitomises is people re-engaging in the way their country is run and taking ownership, taking away that victimhood, right? Because you take away the victimhood, you people then take control of everything they do. And we've spoken about this several times, George. It's about getting involved back in, your local community, sports, school, local government, even, your family as its core. Getting that again, that's what I think One Nation is. And that's why I think, and I've said this so many times, the power is not in this place.
Yeah.
People who work here may think that.
Yeah. And
to a certain degree it is, but the power is out there.
Yeah.
I've said this so many times, the power is out there. And when that ignites and when people come together, that is a force that's going to take Australia off in a massive, amazing tangent. And Corey alluded to it in his speech, is he wants to start giving people back their country, starting with South Australia. And that was amazing. When he delivered that was just like on the money.
And historically it makes sense. South Australia has always represented a city and a state, like South Australia's a state and Adelaide as a city has always represented a place where we are like forward thinking in politics.
Correct.
Like we were the first to legalise women in Parliament, we were the first to legalise gay marriage. Like
you've done I think the vote was the vote as well.
Yeah, the vote as well.
There's a lot of things
that happen here. So when people go, oh, why should I pay attention to South Australian politics? My answer is you should definitely pay attention to South Australian politics. It's probably the most important system to pay attention to.
Well, just politics in general. Politics, you might not want to be part of politics, but politics wants to be part of you.
So for all those people who've watched the speeches, some are very happy, some are sceptical, some are like, oh, it's a psyop, here we go again, it's all been corrupted. What's your message to those people? What will you say to them?
I'll tell you now, people that have all those different views, I'm not going to stop you from having a view.
Yeah.
Right? Your view is your view. That's the whole point of free will, right? But judge on what we get done over time, okay? Where we have increments. Now, one of the big things that I've noticed is, and the media, if we have nowhere near as many members as the Liberal Party, but show me a day where there's an article that isn't written about One Nation in the newspaper versus an article written about the Liberal Party, right? Good or bad, it doesn't matter. We're getting attention, which means that people are seeing and looking because the advertiser's saying this is what the public wants. So we're going to start reporting and doing this stuff, We've had some, like Jason's come out against the fracking stuff, okay? Straight off the bat, right? We're against fracking. So took it to the party room, we discussed it, we back it in, and there's a few reasons why we did that, which I'm probably guessing on.
Yeah, because I guess for a lot of people, when they hear One Nation against fracking, they're like, it's like, what? That makes no sense.
But every situation, we have to put common sense over it.
Yeah.
So, for example, drill baby drill, 100%. You won't find a party that's going to be more pro-mining and more pro-drilling. Having said that, it's where you drill. Now, if you are so blasé as the Premier is, to then go and risk the only water supply to an entire area that produces well above its weight for the rest of the state when it comes to food, that's just retarded.
Yeah, it is a bit retarded.
I'm sorry. That is retarded.
It is, right? It is. No, I fully agree.
But that is the politics, and I'll explain to you, because he knew he doesn't have the Liberal Party. It was just a wedge. We were going to vote against it, and the Greens are going to vote against it, right? So that means that he went down there and upset a whole heap of people and scared them for no reason other than to come down and go, oh, look, One Nation are against drilling, which is not true. We're against potentially destroying the only water aquifer availability for an entire area because that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's simple. Water is the most important thing.
Water.
Two is food, then it's mining.
And it was funny because a mentor of mine said, like, essentially you can't eat gas.
Yeah.
right? And there's plenty of places to drill for gas. And let's extrapolate this a little bit because I think it's really important, right? So the reason we're running out of gas, or allegedly on the eastern seaboard, is because they do have moratoriums in New South Wales and Victoria where you can't frack anywhere. Now, if the Premier had a spine, he would have gone onto the phone and go, listen, Mins, listen, Jacinta, you risk your prime agricultural land for gas for your people, we're pretty good here.
Yeah.
Right? Or he would have gone up to, say, the basin and other places where they're drilling and go, listen, what's stopping you from drilling more or getting more out of those areas? But instead, big noted himself, and I was there. I went down to Mount Gambier. You know, he came in there and he released the information the morning of, and then took his whole country cabinet down there and all these people and said, oh, well, I'm not the sort of guy that, you know, says something and doesn't front up. It's like, hang on, you told him on the way, number one. If you told him 2 or 3 weeks ago, my guess is they would have run you out of town, okay? Yeah. And I'll tell you what I got out of that whole thing. 2 things. He was able to do something that I would try and do and I can't even do, and that is he got One Nation supporters, Labor supporters, Green supporters and the Liberal supporters all to get upset with him. I had Labor supporters, shit you not, I had Labor supporters come to me and show me after the event their little Labor card and say, listen, how do we join up with One Nation because he's just completely gone off the rails. Yeah. So if this is his way of doing things, I should send him a memo and go, listen, you know, our membership's a little bit low in this area, do you mind doing a bit of recruiting for us? Because it was fantastic.
Yeah, thank you, Premier.
Thank you, Premier.
You've done a great job.
Hands up, beautiful. So it was this level of, and this is the other thing, George, the other thing I got out of it, right? And I've been to a few comedy shows, but it felt like to me when a comedian invites all of his mates, half fills the room and still can't get a laugh. Yeah. That was the feeling, right? Yeah. Because it was like there would have been maybe 50 locals and the rest were, you know, staffers, you know, country cabinet. It was all and sundry down there to pat him on the back and you've done a fantastic job. And for what? Like there was no, you know, and Jason got up, asked a question, you know, and he belittled our member, he belittled the other member down in Mount Gambier. You know, like, and I just thought, I was sitting in there and Kirsty, my partner, was with me and I was just itching to get up there and just embarrass the shit out of him. And I went, you know what, I'll let this one go through to the keeper. Yeah. But I have a long memory.
Yeah. Sometimes when your opponent is punching themselves in the face, just let them keep punching themselves in the face, right? Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, it's a strange arrogance in the Labor Party because the reality is there is already a grand conspiracy around, you know, left-leaning governments trying to destroy farmers. And it just feeds straight into that. Like,
just go and piss off all the people that you don't need to for no reason. Yeah. Like if you were ever thinking of trying to win that area, talk about a safe goal. But I think...
They just don't care though, do they?
No, they don't. And I'll tell you what I think. This is a really interesting thing when you look at it. When you look at... Because politics is about numbers, right? Yep. And numbers, you need numbers to get things across the line, okay? So the arrogance is actually almost what's going to bring him undone. I'll explain to you why. Can we agree that he's got this majority in the lower house? He controls the majority, you know? And so people think that he actually runs the show, right?
Yeah.
Would we agree?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the kicker. If the Liberal Party hold the line in the upper house, meaning they don't pass legislation for the Labor Party, if One Nation holds the line and says you're not going to pass anything, guess who he has to deal with to get any piece of legislation through because he doesn't have the numbers? The Greens. So just for a minute, have a think of this, right? He has to come across from one side of the room to the other, hat in hand, into the Greens office, into Mr. Sims' office and say, what do I need to get this legislation through? Now you tell me, is that a good situation for this state to be in? Is that actually a really good situation? But they have created this because for so long they pretend to be enemies, but they're like this. Yeah. They rely on each other. Yeah. And the other side of that equation is the whole Possum Park tree thing, okay? That was, I'm going to take this to the election. Everybody knew what was going on. And he's right. 100% he's right. Yeah. That everybody knew that this was coming, including the Greens. Yeah. Right? Now, if they were principled and if this was a really big thing to them, like if Robert Sim and the Greens said, you know what, this is a non-negotiable, Pete. If you don't cease and desist, we're going to not give you preferences in the election. He could have held his ground. Yep. And what did he do? Gave the Labor Party preferences across the board. Labor was either 1, 2 or 3. Now, Robert's a smart operator. This is what I'm starting to work out. These people are smart,
It's
right?
performative.
Of course.
Yeah.
And so Robert, and this is why I said it in my speech, and when I looked at him, he had a little cheeky smile on his face. But Robert and the Greens didn't take that principled decision, right? So they all talk about principles. They're no principles.
Yeah.
So they literally, I think, put the fuel in the chainsaws because they could have said, not happening. They didn't.
Yep.
Did the preference deal. Robert got what he wanted, which is another member in the Legislative Council, which now he gives him power, and it only cost him 585 trees.
Yeah.
That. If you look at it from just clear numbers, that's exactly what happened, and they will tell you it's not. And now they're out there protesting and this is terrible. Like really? Okay. I call bullshit.
Yeah, and you know what? I also, just to put an extra layer in there, because that's amazing, just for the people at home who are listening, that's exactly...
Sorry, I went on a little bit of a thing there, but you got to tell the story.
And I think that's what people want from One Nation. Want someone like you coming and just saying how it is up front, being a warrior, not scared. Another thing is it also feeds the dichotomy of like, Labor and the Greens are secretly fighting each other. So it keeps up that little story as well. Look, see, we don't agree, but then behind the scenes they do agree. So it feeds into their narrative that they've created. Because the Labor Party, they're trying to do this whole like, we're right wing and we are conservative and we got to bring back patriotism.
Yeah.
But in the sideline...
Progressive patriotism.
Progressive.
It's a different version of patriotism,
So
we eat vegan sausages at a barbecue now.
So there you go. So it creates this false rivalry between the Greens and Labor.
Yeah.
But in the reality, as you just said, in the back end, there's no principles, there's no actions. They're actually saying no. Like the Greens, if they really want to stop these trees being destroyed, they could have made it happen.
Of course they could have. And now they're out there greenwashing it all.
Yeah.
Out there protesting. And the worst thing is the reason they get away with it is because no one calls them out. Now I've called them out. Yeah. And we'll see what happens, right?
Yeah.
And I copped heat from people saying, we should have supported that, you should have stopped this from going ahead, you should have voted against it. With all due respect, we made a party decision. This was brought across the line, right? There were other reasons we didn't support it. But at the end of the day, this could have been stopped by the Greens before the election.
Yeah.
That was when they had the true power. Because if they turned around and said, we're not preferencing you, sign the dotted line that you're going to stop this, that was the chance they had.
Yeah.
Not after they're chopping down the trees.
Yeah.
Right? And with all due respect, I've seen the trees that have come down. Where are they all going? Where's that firewood going?
Yeah.
That's a bit cheeky, but anyway.
That's
what I see when I see trees coming down. I live on a big property, so I'm like fucking
It's getting cold. It's winter.
It's getting cold.
You know what? Maybe that's the great conspiracy. Maybe we just ran out of firewood. And
it could
winter,
be.
People
well,
need
at the
wood.
very least, I think they should give that to people that can't afford firewood and heat.
That's true.
Like
but they'll never
every
do
cloud
that.
has a silver lining, right?
That's true. You never let a bad moment get wasted, right?
No, that's it.
So okay, well that's good because it's not good. That's not good. But
no.
I guess what you're identifying early is the fake rivalry between Greens and Labor. You're willing to call them out and tell the people exactly what it is. What about the mainstream media? How have they been for you? Do you think, obviously, we had Chantal and Rebecca at the front when Sarah Game introduced her bill for the abortion bill.
Yep.
And that was quite brave. Seeing those,
because I think there was also the protest for the trees was happening at the same time, or was it or not?
Different times, but
similar. Because I
area.
remember the girls telling me they went out there and they got spat at and stuff like that, which is terrible.
So
right?
they got spat on, and that's something the left love doing. They love spitting on people.
And look, and I'm going to make this very clear because I've heard even Malinowskis, people asking for his address. I don't condone that sort of shit. And I'll go one further. So my address was out there when I was campaigning and stuff. But this is just going out there, everybody. I'm looking at you now. If you think for 1 minute you're going to come to my house and create problems with me or my family, I'll tell you two things. Number one, I used to be a carpenter, so I'm really good with a hammer and a circular saw. And the other part of my job was digging trenches and pouring concrete. Make of that as you will, but do not ever mess with my family. I'll give you the hot tip. You can throw barbs at me all you like. I got thick skin, but you come after my family, there isn't a rock in this planet that I won't find you.
You'll show the true meaning of the South American spirit.
It might only be a small amount left, but I tell you, that's dynamite. Yeah,
at least you're not doing a Bob Catter. Don't you dare call me.
Yeah, no, I won't say it. I'll just do it.
Yeah,
right. No. So I don't condone. Have a barb, have a discussion, have a debate. But threatening people's family and lives,
it's crazy.
That's just nuts.
And just to be clear, this is a serious issue that we're seeing in modern day politics.
Yeah.
It is becoming violent. We're seeing it in America. We're seeing it here in Australia. Unfortunately, there's a lot of mentally ill people that should be locked up, and they're just out in the streets because this government is so weak.
Well, here's the kicker, right? So, do they think, like in the US, right? Do you think that if you killed the president, that his party and what he's following, what he's pushing, would go, shit, he's gone, we're done, right? Everybody pack up, we're out of here?
Yeah.
Of course not. It's going to elevate and escalate. And I'll tell you what, something about in America, the one side of politics you don't want to get upset is the Republicans and the right, because they're the ones that are the gun owners.
Yeah.
Right? That to me just...
Second biggest military in the world. No, the biggest standing army in the world is the American people.
Correct. So I wouldn't be doing that. So, yeah, we need to take that out of there. I don't mind debating and discussing and taking barbs and stuff like that. And the vote is where you really want to hurt someone, vote them out.
I guess my point is I think there's been an injustice in the way mental health has gone down. I think the last 20 years, because now we're too scared to call out people's mental health issues.
Yeah.
We're letting people run on the streets who are not, like you saw in Melbourne, people getting stabbed just walking
It's
the
nuts.
street. Like,
but we've got to go.
Adelaide, we're seeing it in the city as well.
And we've got to go back and say, why is this happening? You know, it's the deterioration of family. It's the deterioration of just social norms. It's what we're eating. You know, there's so many
drugs.
Things. Correct.
We were walking around in the mall with people with like scabs all over their bodies. Like it's not good, guys. This is not like, I know you guys overwhelmingly voted Labor this time around, but like, are you looking around? Are you happy with what we got? I just feel like we're a little bit head in the sand.
Elections have consequences, George.
Yeah.
Elections have consequences.
And it's going to, I mean, they do have a super majority, right? I mean, a majority, that's to say. So,
well,
what do you think?
I would debate that. As I said, they got a majority in the lower house.
Yeah.
Right? But not in the upper house.
Yeah.
And they tried to make it so that it was one vote.
Can you explain what happened? So what actually got proposed for you?
So we got offered the presidency. So if we took that out, it would take one of our votes out.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the kicker. This is I was just blown away. I didn't even know that you could do this. But by offering us the president, it takes one vote out, which means they only need one vote versus two. So now they need at least the Greens to get stuff through. But if it was just one vote, it means they would have only needed Sarah's vote. Right?
So who offered you, like, how does it work?
I don't know where the channels come. It just comes through.
Okay.
We just got asked. And
just for the people at home, because
we said no.
And just so people at home know, when you get offered, it's a very prestigious role.
Yeah.
The pay increase is like what, $400,000 a year. So that means Carlos or whoever was offered,
whoever it was, was
turned down $200,000 a year.
We just made the decision as a party that we've worked too hard. Our supporters, our volunteers, all the people that have done what they've done. It was just, we couldn't do it. It makes no sense, because ultimately the prize, if you just look at one little prize, you don't look at the big picture. The big picture, and I've said this, is that we want to be running the state within 2 terms. Okay? Yeah. So why would I take a step back? We had an amazing result. You know, we punched well above our weight. We've got great members up. There's a heap of members still that we want to get in. There's a heap of good people out there that need to be elected. We've got to start. So it would have been a step backwards. So and I said to you, because you remember you asked me a few times, you're going to be bought and everything. I think that was probably one of the first tests.
Yeah,
we said no.
That was the first test. Because honestly, I was a bit stressed.
Yeah.
And not because not stressed because I think you would take it, but it is just stressful in general. Like, it's like, there's a tsunami coming. I know you're up the hill already.
Yeah.
Like, spiritual, like, you're already there.
Yeah.
But the tsunami's still coming. You never know at the end of the day what's going to happen. But seeing you actually stand behind your words, seeing this party say no to the money is impressive. And it's very rare these days. I don't know what the Liberals would have done or the Greens would have done. Who knows?
Oh, no, that's for them.
That's for them. But, it's quite impressive. And I think people at home should be aware of this. And the media, I know you're listening because you watch everything I do. You should make a big deal of it, because I'm surprised you haven't.
We didn't, because it's just a test for us from within.
Yeah.
And now we're on to the next thing. And I'm finding my feet. Rebecca's finding her feet. Corey's getting back into it. He's been out for a few years, but now he's starting to. And I'm just telling you now, look out, because
he's like, what have I done?
But because that speech.
Yeah.
That speech was the beginning, right? And he goes, I went pretty light, to be honest. And so, and I threw my barbs, because I know that for me, local government's a big thing. And so we've started, we're putting together a panel of people that will take submissions from outside, from the community. So that's going to be announced as well soon, and you'll be able to come in and explain about the issues you've had with local government, whether it's a planning issue, and that committee will then basically take all those submissions, do a report, hand down some recommendations, and that will be the basis of our local government reform bill that we'll be putting forward. So, but I'm very cautious and to make sure that we did it outside of this place.
Yeah.
Right? Because, you know, it was suggested to me that I could do a parliamentary inquiry, blah, blah, blah. And the next thing you know, the terms of reference, which is the structure to which we work to, gets watered down, and then it's just another tick and flick exercise. I'm not interested in that. I want wholesale change.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why we're doing what we're doing it.
And to achieve all that change, obviously, you know, I guess some of the questions I've been seeing and people want me to ask is like, you know, you've obviously got Pauline Hanson, you know, she's the big boss, but she kind of made a statement saying that she's going to stay out of it. She's going to let you guys do what you got to do.
Yeah, she's always said that.
So do you feel that that's authentic? Like if, I'm not sure, obviously there has to be a level of unity within the One Nation Party, and that was kind of the biggest issue of the Liberal Party is like, because it's like the broad church, even though none of them go to church.
Well, it's a broad church with no religion, no common religion, right?
There's no common point.
Religion.
So they could never agree on anything, and that's kind of what led to their downfall eventually. Because before in the 60s, they were all Christians. They could all agree on Christian values.
Correct.
Now they got nothing. Now they don't even know what the hell, what colour. They don't even know what gender is.
Our common religion is belief in this country and that flag.
Yeah.
And where we need to be as a society.
Yeah.
That's what pulls us together. Like we've slightly got different views on different things. You know, they might have different views on local government reform or this or that, but as the essence, the core of what it is to be a One Nation member, One Nation supporter, a One Nation member of Parliament, it's the same. And like, you know, that was the first thing they tried to test is they went after Pauline and said, oh, you know, you're over here and it was a mining and gas convention just down the block at the Adelaide, what's it called, the convention centre here?
Yeah.
And they said to her, like, you know, you're drill baby drill, but your members over here are saying no. And she's like, I'm leaving that up to the state.
Yeah,
But we did discuss this, and we explained to her why this is such a bad idea.
Well, there's got to be. It's very nuanced. You can't drill baby drill where it makes sense. This drill baby drill was not drill baby drill. This is destroy baby destroy. Is different.
Well, this is the thing. Let's say hypothetically it went ahead.
Yeah.
And there's a problem, right? There's no one that can guarantee me, and I've been in mining and drilling. There's no one that can guarantee me that couldn't be a problem, right?
Yeah.
If that guarantee came out, it would have to be backed up by compensation to say, right, so if you completely destroy this area for every farmer and everything, and even that still wouldn't be enough because you're talking about family farms and history, right? So you can't buy that. But there is none of that, you know? And so, you know, myself and Jason are going to meet with a drilling contract because I want to understand. And I'm getting the feeling that they don't even really want to do this.
No,
that's just kind of like a bit of a vibe I'm getting.
It look bad on them as well. Like these people are not stupid. The miners and engineers, they're smart people. They know this is be a big issue.
But you can have and you know, at the country cabinet they spoke about that we'll have all these regulations and we'll have all these things going in place to make sure. It doesn't matter how many laws and stuff, things go wrong.
Yeah, it takes one.
And so you have to, as a member of Parliament, I have to weigh up the probability of things going wrong and the outcome of that versus the gain that we're going to get, you know. And that'll be across all things.
And I guess for One Nation, farmers should always be first. Like, it's our food and water.
Well, they feed us.
Yeah, without them, we're cooked.
Right, I don't want to be important food. We're already important to many people. I don't want to be important food as well.
Yeah,
right?
That's exactly right.
Well, I think we actually are netting poorer food now anyway, which is actually quite sad.
Yeah.
But I just think that, you know, farming is a very tough game and they're already copying it. And so to do what they did was kind of like, I don't know, it was just stupid, silly politics for no reason other than to, and this is, so now I'm starting to get the sense of who our Premier is, and I don't know, maybe I'm being a bit harsh, but he seems like he's got a glass jaw.
Yeah, he you know, I noticed this because when I put a bit of pressure on him about this algae bloom situation, I noticed in his other videos his voice started shaking. He was like not the usual charismatic self. He was kind of messing up his words a bit. So he's definitely easy to get at.
We saw it when Pauline was here.
Yeah.
You know, she really got into him. She really got under his skin. And you know, Pauline yesterday turned 72. I mean, amazing.
Yeah.
72, Jesus Christ, run rings
Gemini
around.
guys, eh?
Yeah, run rings around all of us. But what I'm saying is that she really got under his skin.
Yeah.
And the vote, and he knows this, the vote in the areas which used to be staunch Labor are turning.
Yeah. And
that's a scary thing, because it's not like they're turning and going to the Liberal Party so that then they can go back to the Labor Party. They're now becoming One Nation supporters. You know, and that is a real fear for them, I think.
Well, speaking of fear and turning and scaredy cats who can't sleep with the lights off, the University of Adelaide, or Adelaide University, whatever it's called now, the Woke Adelaide University, was it?
Yeah.
Woke Adelaide.
Yeah.
They're going to stop One Nation, apparently. They're on the 5th of June at midday. They're hosting a free online seminar. Oh, yeah. Everyone should tune in. I want to hear what we should all tune in, don't you think?
I think we should. We should actually do a podcast and
we'll
do a reply and watch it and see what they've got to say. Look, I am interested in what they have to say, because I like to see how the enemy thinks and what they're thinking, and I can imagine it's only going to be a whole heap of gibberish.
Yeah,
and when it actually comes to any substance or debate, I think they're going to create an antidote.
Yeah.
So how do you create an antidote for Australianism, patriotism? You don't want people to be patriotic. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
You know?
No, they're going to. It'll be typical, like where Nazis, supremacists, racists. It's going to be very fun to watch, you know, and they'll bring out some elaborate, dramatic explanation of why. But
the ABC's just been going off on tangents, hasn't it? Like,
yeah. Well, the ABC, I just did an interview with them, and they during the interview, it was weird. The interviewer was asking me, he was kind of trying to portray me as like an immigrant hater, even though I'm an immigrant. Kind of, it's funny.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, it's not. It's not about immigrants. It's about mass immigration. It's about the way you utilize mass immigration.
Yeah.
But there definitely is a collective narrative around ignoring that fact and just painting like these words, these buzzwords. Like, they want a buzzword Carlos, buzzword me, buzzword other. I'm sure One Nation people into these.
Who cares?
Things.
Who cares about words?
Do you think we're past the point now that people care anymore about these words? Like you just mentioned, Labor are worried, the Greens are worried, Liberals are obviously worried.
You'll get a certain cohort of people that words mean more than anything else.
Yep.
Okay. An interesting thing happened only a couple of days ago. There's a person that works here, I'm not going to mention who, but we were talking about, she came up to me and she said, you're with One Nation. You know, and she speaks Spanish. She goes, "You're with One Nation. Why? You're an immigrant. Why?" And I just said, "Why not?" And she's like, "That was the first, like, oh, bang! I hit a roadblock." Okay. I said, "Where are you from?" She goes, "I'm from Colombia." I said, "Okay. So do you have an issue with immigration at the moment? You know, because she goes, oh yeah, lots of people coming from Venezuela, the worst people. It's destroying our country. It's destroying our country." And I went, okay. And you don't want them to come to your country because it's a net negative for your country and it's not good? She's like, yeah. And I said, okay. So you are a One Nation supporter then?
Yeah.
And she went, I said, go and have a look. Don't listen to what they tell you. Go and look at what we're doing and why we're doing it. And then you come and tell me if we're doing it wrong.
Yeah. Well, look, it's an important conversation. 4 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, I did a video when Albanese just said, oh, tell me what an Australian is, right?
Yeah.
And he kind of the way he said it made it out like, oh, you literally just have to land on a plane and you're Australian. That's it.
No.
That's his resume.
No.
You know, it's like when you go for a job interview, when you're hiring staffers, they can't just rock up and go, yep, I'm the guy. Like there's a process, there's like a learning,
Well, I remember when I was growing up, there was a bit of hazing. There was a bit of testing.
Yeah. It's like, imagine if you had like a full-on left wokey who rocked up to One Nation, like, I want a job at One Nation.
Yeah.
You're going to be a little bit like, what?
Yeah, what? You know? Yeah.
So,
look,
why is that weird for migration though? Like, why do you think this conversation, Jacinta Price is now in trouble, the mainstream media losing their minds? These are my beliefs. I believe that it's just simply history. Like, when I go back to my motherland in Greece, like I'm a Greek Australian, I have a deep respect for the history and a love for that and for the people, the race of the Greek race, like all those things. They all matter to me. And if that all was gone, I would be quite sad to see that gone. So I guess for me, it's just a historical thing. Like, my best friend, he was part of the First Fleet. His family, they built Parliament essentially. They built Australia. They built the farms. They paid him blood, taxes, and money.
Yeah.
And generations of hard work out in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the outback. And for me, when I look at that, I have a deep respect for that history. I love it. And I don't want to lose that. So I guess the conversation is, are we willing to lose that history forever? And why is that such a big deal? And yeah, there's a bit of like, oh yeah, Anglo-Celtic connection to that. But like, so every historical country has its own native peoples in terms of the identity of who created that country.
Yeah.
I don't understand why the left and even some conservatives are freaking out about this conversation. It's quite a common sense conversation, I think.
I think we need to have the conversation, because if we don't, it's going to fester and fester and get worse and worse. And then it's going to turn into not what it's really about. And to me, what it's about is the quality of people you have here and the volume of people you have there. And when I say quality, it's, do they align with our values? Do they want to make this country theirs? Do they leave their problems at home? Simple, very similar to like if I invite someone to my house, right? I get to choose who comes in my home, okay? And I want them to align with, to a degree, of who I am as a person and how they want to interact in my home.
Take your shoes off when you walk in.
Take your shoes off, you know. Don't come over and rearrange my house. I didn't go over and rearrange yours.
Don't piss in the shower.
Don't piss in the shower.
You can't if you want. No.
And so I think we do the immigration debate hasn't been had yet, and the amount of people that have are here hasn't been had yet. And I'm concerned that if we don't have it soon, it's going to get really ugly.
Well, it's almost too late now. I'll give you a great example. Like, I'll use a personal example. Like when I went to school in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
It might have been me. I'm a Greek kid, and there might be another Greek kid. And yeah, like that was fun. I got to connect with that Greek kid. But at the end of the day, we're surrounded by Anglo-Celtic Australians. They would talk differently. Their English was much better than mine because English was like a second language. Yeah. They would say like, "G'day, mate," and all these like, and like I learned, and I eventually became like assimilated into that, and I became part of that cultural.
Yes. And there was a level of acceptance.
Yeah, but. Okay.
And you contributed.
I contributed, and I could tell about my.
You didn't try and change them.
I didn't try and change them.
Yep.
I'd give them some moussaka or something just so they can enjoy some good food. But that's about it, right?
Yeah.
But now, just say hypothetical. If I went to school now and 90% of my classrooms were Greek people, why the heck? And there's only 10% Anglo-Celtic Australians and whatever.
Yeah.
Why would I even bother learning how to speak English, learning the Australian? I'll just hang out with my Greek friends. We'll speak Greek together. We would create our own groups. We'd ignore them. Yeah. And we'll create our own history. Like, we'll create our own thing. Like, screw the Australian stuff. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like,
no.
So I guess the problem is, we've got two problems. One is our own population is not having kids.
No.
Like, we're extinction rates.
We need to fix that.
There's no one's having kids. And, okay, there's a few reasons why. We got feminism has gone too far. You know, you're going to be 40 years old. You're going to buy the expensive handbags. You're going to be a boss girl. And men have gone very weak. Like, men don't know how to stand up for themselves, speak up for themselves. They will just say yes to everything. I think that's also quite terrible. Yeah. Food, water. Our water's shit. It's poison. Even the mainstream media made our water having PFAs and microplastics. Our food is terrible. It's covered in pesticides. Yeah. So, that has an effect on the physical body. Effect, yes. So if you're feeling sick and disgusting all the time, how are you going to fight for your country when you're too busy fighting your own body? Yeah, well, that's true. So that's another question. And then politically, you've got the colleges and the education system, even our own public schooling system, infested with atheistic, woke, ultra feministic ideas that are being instilled into our kids, our teenagers.
What happened to just going to school and learning your subjects?
No, it's not a thing. You go to school now and you learn how to be woke.
Yeah, right. So you come out dumber than you went in.
You go.
So they're like what I call really, really smart dumb people.
Well, it's a machine. It's a factory to continue the labour machine, and the Labor knows this, and that's why they want mass immigration so much, because they know people like us are waking up going, enough's enough. Yeah. So they got to fill, this is my opinion, they got to fill the country with immigrants.
Well, it's pumping up the GDP. Yeah. It's immigration, this is, and I've always asked this of the left, I've said, if immigration was a solution to our skills shortage, why after importing 2 million people do we have a skill shortage? Yeah. Like that,
and it won't even be 2 million. It's going to be 4 million people soon.
How many they're doing?
It's going to be 4 million
soon. But do you know what I mean? Yeah. Could it be, just put it out there, could it be we're bringing in the wrong people? We're not bringing in people we need? You know what I mean?
It's purely down to the fact that the vetting process has completely shot, because they're not doing it to bring skilled people. They're bringing it to build skilled voters.
Yes.
Because the thing is, a lot of these migrants, they come in, even like I know in the Greek community, when they first came in, they have like this attachment to the party that brought them in.
Correct.
It's like an unwavering support for the Labor Party. Most of the Labor Party stuff back in the day was quite aligned with, Greeks or tradies and stuff, so it made sense. Now it's completely separated.
Yeah.
Or we just saw recently what happened. The son-in-law of one of the Labor ministers pulls out 2 weeks before the election.
Yeah.
She's gone. They put in Don Farrell's son-in-law to take the position. So Don Farrell, for you guys at home, one of the most powerful federal Labor people in the history of Labor Party. And then last week it was announced she's now becoming part of the Supreme Court of South Australia. $500,000 a year. Like,
jobs for the mates.
Oh,
jobs for the boys, isn't it?
No, is that what you're supposed to be the Labor Party, but then you're doing that. It doesn't make any sense. So I guess the people really need to wake up, and before it's too late. And the migration issue is not necessarily the race or it's more to do the culture, the civilization, the lack of skills, and the amount so quickly where every system we have in place to create a way to process and bring people into Australia naturally is being destroyed. It's like a pipe with too much water. It's bursting.
Yes. And
then we're going to have no water because all the pipes have bursted.
Yeah. Look, I think, and this is the other thing too, I think the Liberal Party want to cap immigration to the amount of houses we build, which means that whoever's building houses will be in charge of immigration. I think the government should be in charge of immigration, right? Yeah. Have a spine, have a backbone. We've made it clear, I think it's 130,000, but it's the people that we need only, right? Not yoga instructors, Uber drivers and wherever else, right? It's the people that we actually need to keep building. We did it back in the days, the Greeks, the Italians, Lebanese, South Americans, whatever. They came and they worked, manufacturing, construction. And now we're kind of like going back the other way.
Yeah, and just to be clear, when in the 1960s and 70s, when we'll bring in, and the 1940s, when we'll bring in the Greeks, Italians, Lebanese. Remember, Lebanon is the largest ongoing Christian country in the Middle East. They've had Christian rulership for 100 years.
Yeah.
Greeks are Orthodox, Italians are Catholic, and South Americans are Catholic as well.
Catholic, yeah.
So you're Argentina, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, very Catholic,
well,
right?
I came here when I was 2, so I'm really Australian.
Yeah.
Well, I got like 2%, like,
you're like
the Latin blood. It comes out when it needs to come out, right?
It comes out in soccer. He's playing a soccer game.
Yeah, 100%.
No, but you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a level of proper vetting, and obviously these cultures mix better. I'm not saying we say no to every other culture. I'm just saying if you're going to bring in a culture that has a very different way of being, you got to do it in small amounts and let it drip. And so then the people have time to feel like they're part of the country, to make friends.
Bring them along.
Yeah.
Like, at the moment, they feel like they're being replaced.
Yeah, exactly. No one's saying no. We're just saying there's a way. There's always a way. It's like a soccer team. If I got a soccer team full of, a very well balanced team, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna get 10 defenders in, froth the entire balance of the team. Yeah. That's not gonna help. That's
no benefit.
So there's always ways to do things, and it goes in sports, it goes in business, it goes in One Nation, it goes in everything.
It's better if you bring people along for the journey instead of just dictating to them.
So what are the most important things for you now moving forward? You're settling in. This office is slowly becoming yours. It's got the markings of Carlos.
I'm starting to put up. I've got to bring. I only got them to they finally put some hooks up. So I'm going to put some stuff up here. I've got all the T-shirts with all the volunteer signatures I want to put up. And then moving forward for me is, I'm here every day, right? Because I don't necessarily have to be. I can work from home and stuff like that. But I have meetings because I want to speak to people and get an understanding. I spend a bit of time in the library here and start to research and understand the history of things.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
It's an amazing resource. Unfortunately, they're going to build a massive building out the back, which is going to block out.
Yeah.
But anyway, but every day I get out of here and I walk, and if I'm, if it's a sitting week and I have to stay late, I've stayed one time, because obviously, time I finish, by the time I drive out to Inman Valley, that's like an hour and 20 minutes, and then come back again. So I've stayed here a couple of times, but one time that I stayed here, I got up early in the morning and walked around the city, and I was shocked at how many homeless people there are here.
It's getting bad,
and then, but at the same time, I also see plenty of empty buildings. Yeah. And I just put 2 and 2 together and go, well, why can't we make one of these empty buildings into a shelter? So then I've started thinking, so I've spoken to some of the guys that are working with me and saying, this is a project that I want to do. I want to work out how we can get people off the street. Okay, housing is a big thing for me. So I'm speaking to a lot of people within the industry that don't get a seat at the table generally with the government and saying, right, how do we fix this problem? Local government, how do we fix this problem? Because that's what I am. I can't see a problem and then just walk away and go, whatever.
It's like Bob the Builder.
Bob the Builder, yeah. So I just want to fix some things.
Yeah.
And if it means taking away some regulation that's superfluous, if it means just putting the right people in the room who don't normally talk together and just get them to put their crap aside just so we can just fix this one thing, then I'll be that facilitator. And if I've got to crack heads, I'll crack heads.
Yeah.
You know, so, and then support all the members. You know, I went down to Gambia and I've seen Robert over in Mount Murray Bridge and gone to see Chantal when she was having an issue with the National Trust. But it also allows me to then go out and meet people because my office is the entirety of the state. You know, so now that things are starting to bed in here, I've got some good staff that are going to help me achieve these goals. I now will then start working out. I'm going to go, right, I'm going to go to this region. I'm going to speak to these people, move around, you know. But I want people to, you know, engage. But I mean, at the moment, it would be nothing for me to get a couple hundred emails a day, phone calls.
Yeah, it's
and you want to try and get to everybody, but you just get swamped. You know, I'm working more now, believe it or not. I'm doing more hours now than I was as a builder.
Yeah. Well, the good news is I've got some really fun ways that you can kind of fix all that, but I can't say it on screen because I want to keep it a secret.
Oh, okay. But you will tell me?
Yeah, off the camera, yeah, because I don't want the other parties to know what the secrets are, which should help with all that stuff because, there's so many, one thing with technology and the way it's moving forward, there are some tremendous steps forward that people are missing out on. Yeah. Look, at the end of the day, I guess the way Parliament's built is it's kind of intended to swamp you to the point where you can't actually even do anything. Yeah. If you're so swamped and you can't actually do the job because you're doing all the button pressing all the time.
And it's interesting you say that because, I mean, on a building site, I always knew you had a set of plans, you knew what you're going to do every day and things would change accordingly. But one thing that I do now, because you're right, you will get, it just happens, things change, bogged down, especially during sitting days. So what I do every morning when I get in here, I write down a list of things that I want to do for the day. And then as I do them, I tick them off. Yeah. And then if there's things that I haven't done, at the end of the day, I go, why didn't I? Or was it something I didn't really need to do and I just had it on my brain?
That's a good method.
Because at the moment, I'll tell you now, and my partner Kirsty, she'll attest to this, I'm lucky if I sleep 4 or 5 hours a night. Damn. It's just waking me up. Like I wake up with things already on my mind and I know I have to start to kind of taper that because I will burn out otherwise. Yeah.
And you got to worry about, you got to be careful because burnout's real. And even with my work with social media, I have to take breaks. Like the beauty now is I've got to a point where I can post a video and I'll get like 150,000 likes and I can just take a week off. Like, that was enough.
If only my job was about getting likes, I'd be all right. Maybe not some of the things I've said, but...
Well, the problem is like, for me, it took 10 years to get to the point where my voice now can be heard by millions. Where before I was talking to no one for so long, it took years, and then eventually people start listening, and then it gets out. Yeah, and that will kind of be a similar with Parliament for you. You're going to be yelling at a wall for a bit, and then eventually you'll start putting things up, and people start listening, and people are listening now. Yeah. You'll see that come through. Yeah. And you'll get to feel the benefit of that. I guess the problem is you don't want to get bogged down. You don't want to burn out. Like what you kind of said is what Steve Jobs used to do. So Steve Jobs used to have he said he would create 3 tasks a day, and no matter what, he gets those 3 tasks done no matter what. Yeah. And if he doesn't get it done, he next day does it. So that's actually really refreshing.
Finishing.
Because I'm telling you right now, there are people in this building, I've seen it firsthand, that come to work to sit down and do nothing and get paid.
Yeah, I couldn't do that. I don't know how you do that. I'd go nuts. I would actually literally go nuts. There's so many things to learn about this place and the people and the history and, I think my interactions with people in this place has been good, like people that don't make decisions, they're just people that work here and they're surprised. They are surprised that we are. And I'm like, well, why are you surprised? We are just the average person.
Do you think they're surprised that they're trying to do like the whole, look at this naive Carlos guy coming in, think he can do everything? Like they're going to he's going to turn into one of them other ones. Don't worry. over time.
Look, whenever they can think that as they like, but like
I'm not saying it's like a sinister thing, but you know what I mean. Like,
when Pauline came down, she had that event on. She came to our speeches. She said to me, is it everything you thought it'd be? And it was like, well, I didn't think what it would be, but I'm going to make it what I want it to be.
Yeah.
And that comes down to how much effort I want to put in and what do I want to achieve. So I've got my long-term goals, as an individual. I've got the party goals that we all work together on. And then what I'm hoping is that as things progress, more and more people, like average people like myself, decide to put their hand up and get involved in taking back their state, their country. And then the more people that happens, the easier the lifting will be.
Yeah.
But if people just want to sit there and coax and just complain and moan about how bad their lives are, and I really want to get this message to people out there is don't ever think that you can't do what I'm doing right now. If you set your mind to it. I mean, I didn't go to university. I didn't have a great upbringing. I spent time, homeless, right?
Yeah.
It was a short time, but I was homeless, couch surfing. But I always decided that I would take every opportunity and make the most of it. And so I'm eternally grateful for Pauline backing me in, because the party was at a pretty big low, as we all know, and we've gone from that to this, and I don't even think we're even close to where we need to be.
No way.
I think we can go so much further, and I'm really proud of the members and what they're doing, and the staff have been working together, and we're finding our feet, and it's awesome. I love coming to work.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Well, look, on that note, I don't want to take up too much more of your time because I know you've got plenty of stuff to do. I already heard half of it, but is there one final message you want to tell the people of Australia or the people of the world who are listening? What's it going to look like for you now? In terms of, obviously you got the bill coming up with the abortion bill.
Yep.
We got a few things, the fracking, the this, that.
Yeah.
Obviously you want to reform the government here and make
local government reform.
Yeah.
One tier of government at a time. If I was going to say anything to people out there, is the quickest change that you can create is within yourself. Right? And we've spoken about this many times.
Yep.
From that, small things become big things.
Yep.
So that little change reflects and goes on to everybody. And don't give up hope. I know the budget that was handed down is atrocious. Okay? But don't give up hope. And if you can do that and always fight, we will win.
Yep.
It's inevitable. If we continue to fight, we will win.
Yep.
So yeah.
Well, there you go, guys. Thank you, Carlos, again. Appreciate the time. And
no dramas,
I'm glad to be, obviously we talked a lot before the election, so it's very nice to be able to be in these parliament holes and be with you. And
I'm still waiting for you to organise that debate between the Liberals and One Nation. Remember we spoke about that?
Well, we're trying. It's just hard. I will be following that up soon. So just stay tuned. But yeah, look, I won't be a stranger.
Even if it's not a debate, let's just have a discussion about stuff.
Like a nice little round table, cigars, I don't know, we'll do something. But yeah.
I don't know, maybe Corey will get the cigars.
But yeah, look, there's plenty of content to have. Guys, I'm going to be around. I'm going to give my all to One Nation as well. Obviously,
give your all to the people of South Australia.
Well, yes, but for me right now, One Nation is, like, you guys are treating me with utmost respect where, Labor Party won't even respond to me. And I called them multiple times. The Greens, I don't know, they just call me a racist every time I email them. Or
that's silly.
They got the Socialist Party now. They're having a go at me. I can only do what I'm given, and right now it's you guys, and and credit to Ben Hood. He still opens line of communication. I'm not sure if you've got to communicate with him more.
Yeah, no, I've had a couple of chats with Ben, and we obviously the fracking thing. Him being from the southeast is a big one.
So he would definitely appreciate that. So look, as he just said, don't lose hope, guys, and especially young men. A lot of them feel very hopeless right now. They're like, oh, this is game over. But the reality is,
how's it game over?
Well,
how's the game over?
They can't. Well, you got to remember, was it 30 to 40% of young men now are they're not even going to lose their virginity, they're never going to have a girlfriend. They're
well, then work on that.
Well, they can't because
work on that.
They can't.
Right, don't give them excuses.
Well, I'm saying, even if the world is falling around you, you got to just give it your all. It's like a footy match.
Everybody puts on their pants the same way, one leg at a time, mate. It doesn't matter. Just get up in the morning.
Yeah.
I have this saying, and I don't know where I heard it, but it's like this: get up in the morning like you're going to take on the world. If not, get the fuck out of the way of those that will.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so that's why you have to.
Yeah.
Whatever you do,
don't be a victim.
Don't be a victim.
And by the way, no one's saying that there aren't oppressors out there. Of course there are. There's everything. Like even breathing oxygen can oppress you because it's slowly killing you, right?
Yeah.
Everything is trying to kill you. The thing is, don't ever give up. Fight. Be the best version of you. Keep going.
Whatever that is. If it means getting up in the morning and making your bed before you go to work or school or whatever, start there.
Yeah. Yeah. Little battles. Little battles make big wins.
Everest
right?
is climbed one step at a time, mate.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, there you go, guys. Great, wise words from Carlos. And, absolute privilege to be in this room. And, I'm happy to help. And to other parties out there, as I said, I'm open to having discussions, but that's on you. I can't chase you all forever.
Get in contact with me. He's not a bad guy. He'll chat to you about anything.
Everything, yeah. Anyway.
He doesn't bite.
No. I did when I was a kid, but I'm over it now.
All right.
See ya.
Thanks.